Look at this disgraceful mess in here. So I've been meaning to do a load of cleaning up in and around the workshop. I'm just going to make it more efficient for working in, get rid of all this stuff that you tend to keep hold of and clutter the place and makes your working environment worse. So starting in the spray booth, tidy all this up, put some shelving up. My pump pretty much stays in here. My spray pump is what I use the most. So I'm going to make a little bit of an area where that is set up slightly more properly than just dumped in the corner and it sits in the way. And I'd also get a bit more drying space if I get all of this stuff off of this bench. I've got something else in here taking up a bit of room. It's a Woodworking DMV that I bought about a year ago. I was going to do it up and put it in the workshop, but it's quite big compared to the Cedric that I've got, so it doesn't really fit in the space where my mortiser is, so a little bit undecided what to do with that. It's a good example of one, but could do with a little bit of a refurb on the bearing that makes the vibrating chisel is worn out, but perhaps that's another video one day. Behind there I've got a load of spray pumps. These are piston pumps. I think there's 6 or 7. I bought them out of the Joinery factory when they shut down. They just ripped them out of the paint line and not even cleaned them out, so there's no doubt everyone will need taking to bits and refurbishing to get them into a working pump. But wonder what they're worth, or if someone wants to make me an offer on the whole lot. I think that K Monar one has actually been refurbished, but the others are all identical ones of them. So if anyone's interested in taking one and refurbishing it, probably want just not a lot for them. These things are quite cool. They're the PPS System from 3M. So you put your paint in the outer cup, and you got like a disposable insert. You attach it into there. Then on your gun you have this fitting that fits these cups, so you can snap them on and off and just clean your gun out from there down and change colour really quickly. Got this gun in the middle of a refurbishment. One day I'll get it back up and running. So look at that beauty. What a honey. Got a little pressure pot gun there. That's an advanced HD. I've got a pressure pot in here. This is a 40 litre, I think, pressure pot. So the idea of a pressure pot is you can put your paint inside this pot, and you put an air pressure into it, and the air pressure feeds the paint through the paint line to the gun. So you don't need a hopper on the gun, but you can spray out of this gun like a conventional gun. It's not an airless system. An airless tends to be quite heavier with its coating. This is, you can get a lighter finish but with a thicker fluid material. Plus you can go up, or you can spray at any angle with the gun, so you can spray upside down and stuff. So pressure pots are pretty cool. This one in particular, because you can fit the whole tin of a 20 litre drum inside this pot. So it means you don't have to decant any of this material. You can just put the whole pot inside there, seal it up and spray away, and just maybe once or twice a day give it a good stir, make sure that it's mixed well. But yeah, it's really handy that it doesn't skin over or anything inside the pot. You can just put it in there, kind of forget about it, and just keep spraying away. So yeah, they're just incredibly expensive. For one that size, they are not cheap to buy. This one is my turntable for like bigger frames. Needs a bit of a better remake, but it works really well. So you can set this up, and these pegs sort of go into different holes, and you can generally move the arm to a position where it falls on a face frame. Drop it on and spray it all without any interruption of, like, if you sit a frame on a batten or a flat surface, the spray doesn't hit as evenly as if you've got free airflow all the way around it. So that works really well. And it's an old trailer axle, so it spins really freely, or it did. This one's the same, but it's just a flat top I think George made this one. It got sat up there probably in about 2009, 2008, 2009. When I was using butyl glazing putty. And he still sits up there today. Wonder how sticky the butyl is actually. Still pretty soft. Huh. This is my spray pump that I pretty much do 90% of my spraying with, unless it's solvent based. All the water based goes through this. It's sat here for like the last 5 years. You can see by the mess beneath it. It's just the perfect spot. It remains in this room which is warm, and the spray booth is cold, so the paint stays in the warm and it just sits out the way. So I might try and fit this pump in this corner where I've got access to it, but it's not on this trolley, because the trolley just gets in there when you're carrying stuff through. It's always slightly in the way. So I'm thinking whether I bolt it underneath. Yeah, bolt it onto that cattle trough so the controls are sort of just poking out from under this bench and my paint can sit underneath. Oh my god. Good catch. This is proper dodgy. Surprisingly well, actually. Right, hopefully now the gun can pass through there if I need to. Oh yes, look at that. Not away the door anymore. So to get rid of the paint that was just laid all over and cluttered that work surface, I've made a really basic cabinet or some shelving, and it's 8 foot long, so I can just use a normal sheet, cut a normal sheet up and make some doors for it. And that's important because I want to keep this room as clean and empty as possible, so that every time that I want to do some spraying, I can open all the windows and doors up, turn the fan on, and go through with the airline and blast all this, or as much of the dust out as I possibly can. And when it's cluttered with paint tins and all sorts of stuff just loitering around, you can't get in there and blast it with air quickly every time. So put some doors on this cabinet, I can have everything in there that I want, but yeah, just close the doors on it and blast away. Okay, there's an incredibly rough and ready bit of shelving. Didn't film making and putting that up because I basically nearly gave up on doing this 3 or 4 times. Just awkward, horrible little thing, hadn't got the right materials. Yeah, I'm not making the perfect job. It's difficult to keep positive about it, but it'll serve a good purpose, and we'll get some doors fitted on the front of it and just keep everything closed out the way. But for now, I'll stick the paint back in. So we go, that's all got time for today. Made quite a good improvement really to that bit of space. Still loads of work to do around the spray booth to get it nice and tidy. Managed to get the pump mounted and the hoses routed through that little stud wall so that it doesn't interfere with the door now. Like opening and closing the door, I used to run them under the door. It's just a pain, you know. It's one of them things you live with, but you never take the time to get done. And there is quite a few bits in there that I don't actually need or use anymore. If I need the space in them shelves, I'll be chucking them out. But it kind of begs the question, what do you do with used chemicals? Do you take them down the tip or get them disposed of properly? I mean, I've got a bit of an idea with my washout drums that I want to create like a 8 foot by 4 foot or something, like a tank, that in a very hot day in the summer we can just pour the washings out like just stack them up in the corner when through the winter and pour the washings into a big tank, and then in the summer it'll evaporate away and just leave the dried paint in the bottom of the tank that you can scrape up and dispose of in the bin. But what do other people do with their washings? I mean, it's really tempting with water-based paint to just chuck it down the drain, and it's not right, is it? It's more polluting to the water courses than it would be using solvent-based thinners, you know, and just letting it evaporate. You just pour it out and it evaporates. So let me know your thoughts on what you do with waste water or waste paint washings. It's just part of workshop life, really. Days like this where you feel like you've not wasted time, but it's stuff that's not offset against any form of income, just feel a bit frustrating to take part in and get done. But hopefully it will speed up the workflow and make it more profitable in the future.